All right, the last thing we're going to cover is solving inequalities. So solving inequalities is going to be very similar to solving equations. We're going to follow the same steps. There's just one little difference that we're going to talk about as we work on these problems. So the title for today's notes is Solve Inequalities. Make sure you put the date in the upper corner of your paper. So some quick notes about solving inequalities. To solve inequalities, you follow the same steps as solving equations. So all those steps that we took with solving equations of combining like terms, distributing, undoing, using inverse operations, we're going to use with inequalities. The only thing that's different about inequalities is that if you multiply or divide by a negative number, you have to flip the inequality sign. So when we're solving inequalities, everything is the same in terms of solving the inequality. We want to get the x, or the unknown variable, by itself. The only difference is when you get to multiplying or dividing, if you multiply or divide by a negative number, you have to flip the inequality. So let's take a look at some examples. Okay, so let's say I gave you this inequality. 3x plus 1 is less than 10. I want to undo by getting the x by itself, so I'm going to subtract 1 on both sides of the inequality. So this time we're doing it over the less than symbol. So you have 3x is less than 9 because 1 minus 1 cancels out. And then now here I'm dividing by positive 3. So x is less than or equal to 3. So all the solutions to this inequality are values that are less than or equal to positive 3. We can make a quick sketch on a number line. Make sure you put your numbers in order from least to greatest. Open dot because it's a less than symbol, and I shade everything that's less than 3. So that's solving an inequality. Follow the same steps of undoing using inverse operations, and then you sketch a graph of your answer. Let's try another example with dividing. So let's say we have a over 5 minus 6 is less than or equal to 6. So we want to undo and get this a by itself. So I'm going to add the 6 to both sides. We have a over 5 is less than or equal to 12. And then I have to undo dividing by 5. So that means I multiply both sides by 5. So the 5's reduce. A is less than or equal to 60. So I can make a little number line. A line underneath that means it's a closed circle. And then I'm going to shade everything less than or equal to 60. Let's look at two more examples. Say I have negative 2y plus 22 is less than 18. So I'd have to undo by subtracting 22 on both sides. So I have negative 2y is less than negative 4. And then we're going to divide by negative 2. So negative 2 divided by negative 2, that reduces. Now here's the thing. When you divide by a negative number, the inequality changes its direction. So the solutions to this are actually numbers that are bigger than 2. So when we graph this, I'm going to shade all the numbers that are bigger than 2. So just be aware that when you're dividing by or multiplying by a negative number, the inequality changes its direction. Let's look at one more example. 4 minus 3k is less than negative 23. So this problem is written a little bit differently because the variable is closer to the inequality symbol. So I need to get rid of this 4. This is a positive 4, though. I look at the sign in front of the 4. So to undo positive 4, I have to subtract 4. So I have negative 3k is less than or equal to negative 27, because a negative 23 minus 4 more is negative 27. Now I can divide by negative 3. And now remember, because I'm dividing by a negative, I'm switching my inequality. So it goes from less than or equal to greater than or equal to positive 9. So when you divide by a negative, it changes the direction of your inequality. All right, so let's make our number line for that. Close circle at 9. And all the numbers bigger than 9. And that's solving inequalities.